Good morning. Well, I'm canning tomatoes this morning. We've got some, end of the year tomatoes here. Donald picked these up, and I am in here right now coring them, taking off the bad spots. Well, let me just show you. He bought these end-of-season tomatoes. They're less than perfect, but that's okay because I'm going to cut off anything that's not good and then quarter them and put them in here, and then I'm going to can the tomatoes. Thought I'd bring you all along with me today. If you've watched my channel, then you know I like to can when it gets chilly. It's October, end of October. It'll be November 1st in just a few days. So I'm canning now when it's a little bit chilly. My kitchen is not being overheated during the summer. I can now, and that works out for us. But I'm getting started on these tomatoes. I'm in here just working on them. Now, I've washed these tomatoes. I got them in this bowl of cold water waiting for me to go ahead and take out that's the vine end where it grew. If there's any kind of less than desirable little spot or anything, I'll cut it out, and then I'll cut out the blossom end, and then just quarter these into my roaster pan here, because I'll be putting these on the roaster and letting them cook a little bit before I get them canned up. Tomatoes are going out of season for us. It'd be hard for us to get a fresh tomato unless we buy one from the store that has been grown in a greenhouse or grown somewhere warmer. So we like to can them, put them up for when it gets off season, and we can use them in our recipes. We'll use them in various things. We'll use them in soup, macaroni and tomatoes, pasta. I just go ahead and can tomatoes, and then I'll make whatever I need to make from them when I get them off the shelf. Now, these are the end of the year tomatoes. They might have a few blemishes, but we just take a minute and cut those right off. Cut every blemish off. I'm not peeling them because they'll be easier to peel once they've cooked. I'll probably just make sauce out of these, and I'll blend the peeling right in there. You'll never know that it's there. I've got 2 boxes of these tomatoes put up today. I did pick out some that we could have for fresh eating for the next week or so. That's about as long as they're going to last. We bought these from a farm not far from here. Now, if I get a extra, if we grow a lot of tomatoes, or we know somebody that wants to get rid of a lot of tomatoes, and they call us in the summer, then I'll take those tomatoes. I do some canning during the summer months, but not a lot. I don't do a lot of canning because it just heats up the house. It's not a lot that I have to can during the summer. I can make pickles and krauts and things, and it doesn't take a lot of heat. I'll ferment those. But we do have quite a few dishes that we use tomatoes in, and home canned tomatoes simply seem to be the best. So I want to make sure I have some tomatoes on hand for those recipes. So don't we find what we can near the end of the season, and we'll go ahead and put those up. It doesn't take too long. Everything moves along rather nicely. Rather quickly here. And it doesn't take long to get these tomatoes canned because they're a water bath. Water bath canning takes less time than pressure canning. You know, I've shared with you before that Appalachians, if they see a spot on something, they just cut it out. We don't throw away the whole fruit just to get rid of a few spots. These ends will either become chicken food or go out into the compost. So nothing will be wasted and everything will have a purpose. When I get this canner filled up, I'll put maybe just, you know, cover them in water, and I'll put them on the heat and get them warmed up. Then I'll get my jars and stuff ready. And go ahead and get these canned up. I'm doing it early in the morning so that the house will go ahead and warm up from the heating, the canning process. That's on my main task for today, is getting these tomatoes canned, getting them preserved for the year. These 2 boxes will go on our pantry shelf, our long-term pantry shelf, and then they'll be on hand when we need them for all of our recipes that take canned tomatoes. They hold such great flavor too. When you home can your tomatoes like this and you open them up, it's just a wonderful taste. You can taste all the, you know, summer days when you went out to the garden and got a fresh tomato. You can just taste the freshness. It adds to your recipe. This is going to take me a little while to get this done. Then we'll move on to the next thing. I have some end of season tomatoes here that I'm going to can today. I've got some spots that I've got to cut out. Me and Donald bought 2 boxes of these celebrity tomatoes from a local farm. They are less than perfect. It's the end of the season tomatoes, but we got them at a great deal. So I'm going to take out all the bad, keep the good, and I'm going to can these. We were taught not to waste. This is frugal, and it's also will help you get good food if you learn not to waste the food that you have. So that's the whole point of today, is making use of something that somebody else probably would throw away, something that would be less than perfect. Finding the good, cutting out the bad, and just eating tomatoes that normally would probably be thrown into the trash can. That being said, these here are beyond repair. If you get one that's just really, you know, it's more rotten than there's any good, of course you throw that one away. And you throw it in your compost, you feed it to your chickens, but you get rid of it. You just want to cut out the bad. If you have a bad spot here or there on your tomato, you want to cut out the bad and keep the good. And that's what we're doing here today. We fully understood when we bought these 2 boxes that there would be spots here or there on these tomatoes. But we know what to do with them. We know how to cut these out. She practically gave these tomatoes to us. We're washing them, cutting out all the bad. And then look at your tomatoes. Just goodness in there. That'll be perfectly good for sauce or just canned chunk tomatoes for recipes. They'll be exactly what we need. I'm going to cook them in this roaster and then can them. Now, some people may be grossed out by cleaning up a less than perfect tomato. You see that little spot? We'll cut that little spot out right when we cut out the core here, the vine end, and then the blossom end, we'll take that off. It'll go there for the chickens or the compost, and then here you'll have all of this good tomato. You are in no way eating anything that's not fresh or beautiful. You've just taken the fruit that had some bad spots, and you've taken those bad spots off, and you're cutting it up, and look at all this delicious, good tomatoes we're going to get from this. And you know the Cherokee Indians, the Cherokee natives, feel like when this tomato is like this, and you take it and you cut off the bad spots, it gives the tomato a taste that it can't get any other way, and it's not a bad taste. The good tomato that's left on there will be enriched by the aging of this tomato, and maybe even a spot here or there that's taken off. It will enhance the flavor of tomato. That you're not going to read in a book. You have to grow up knowing that these are not bad just because they have a few bad spots. They're easily taken off. Just cut them right off when you're cleaning up the tomato, and you've got plenty of good tomatoes left. But for some reason, you know, in society today, they think it's wrong. You got to throw this tomato out. Oh my goodness, it's not perfect. But it is perfect in so many ways. There's a lot of good tomato left there. You don't throw it out just because it's got a little blemish here or there. It doesn't make the fruit any less nutritious or flavorful. You just have to know how to clean it up and make the use out of it. And I'll tell you, as expensive as groceries and things are, now's the time, if you have those skills, to put those into effect, or to learn skills like that, to go ahead and clean your tomato up and use it, even though it might be less than perfect. This has a pretty dark little place, but this will cut right out of there, and there'll be plenty of good, beautiful tomatoes left. Now, I have went through and picked out some of the best tomatoes without any blemishes to save for Donald to put on a sandwich, because, you know, he doesn't want, I mean, that's something you don't want to eat fresh. You want to take it off. Of course, you could cut off that little bad spot and go ahead and eat your tomato. But I've picked out the ones that don't have any kind of blemish on them for fresh eating, and the ones that do have the spots here or there, I'll be processing those and getting those out and getting these ready to be canned. Okay, I've got the tomatoes in the roaster. I'm going to go ahead and turn them on about 250. Let them cook down some. Let me get the lid on them. And that's the first batch. I have got this container here. I've got a little bit of water with citric acid in it. I'm going to go ahead and cut up the rest of the tomatoes and put them in here. So when I get these that I've got in the roaster canned, I'll have the next batch ready to go. In today's video, I'll be canning the end of the garden, the end of the season tomatoes that we bought from a local farm. I'll be preserving those in a way that I'll take out the bad and keep the good, and I'll can those up today. Canning end of season tomatoes. Thank you for joining me today. I'm glad that you're here. was you were doing that in order to preserve food that would otherwise go to waste. Now we'll take these scraps out to the chickens. They're excited to get the scraps. Enjoy, girls.